What up, what up, what up, what up? It's Thursday. So y'all know that it's time for Legendary Insight. Legendary Insight with Justin Springer and Nicholas Francis. I'm just waiting for Nick to get on right now. This sucks. I gotta hold my phone up. My daughter didn't charge my iPad. I'm a killer. Anyways, how is everybody doing today while I'm waiting on Nick to get involved? It's time for Legendary Insight. Victor, what's going on? Shane, what's going on? Who was that earlier? Samantha, what's going on? How's everybody doing today? I'm waiting on Nick to get on. Today's Thursday, so I do a Legendary Insight with Nick. There he is. Shane, that sounds like a personal problem, man. Nick says you can't join. Samantha says great, and you? I'm doing great. Michael, what's up, man? What's up, Mark? Mark, I need to get with you, man. I totally forgot. Hey, Saturday is coming up. Saturday is coming up, so I got to get with you. I got her email address, by the way. See you. Shane, okay, I'll stop. You're good, bro. I know it's all. I know it's all out of love. There's Nick, upside down.
Oops.
There he is. What's up, man?
I don't know. Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, what's up, Justin? How you guys doing on this Thursday? What's going on?
Doing pretty good, man. Sorry, I gotta use my phone because my daughter, I didn't know she didn't charge my iPad, so.
Oh snap! It's all good, man. It's just a little bit more. It's just a little bit closer to you. That's all. They get a little bit of a closer view on you.
Closer view of me. You don't want that. This bald head will shine.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, that armor all be working good for you, bro. You looking? If you stay real close, I could probably fix my.
It's not armor all. It's turtle wax.
It's turtle wax. Okay. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. So welcome to Legendary Insight, guys. How are you guys doing? I don't know about where you're at in the world, Justin, but it is dark over here for the middle of the afternoon. It's like 3 o'clock here, and it is like you can't hardly see nothing outside because it's so dark and overcast.
I wish it was like that here. It's hot, man. Hot.
Yeah, it's still hot over here too, but it's just hot and dark.
I'd rather be dark, get some shade.
So I know Texas gets real hot. My wife, she grew up in Texas, so she told me about the oven that is Houston.
Yeah, no, it is, man.
So it's like dry heat.
Can't even play around about that. Hey, Brenda, how you doing?
No. Brenda's on here. Shane's on here. That's your buddy Shane, right? Shane Merrill. Let's see who else is on here.
Yeah, it's my buddy Shane.
I got more joining in. Yeah. Oh snap. I forgot to share it out. Yeah. So yeah, guys. Where will
Thanks a lot, Mark.
let's see.
He's like nice and cool in the Cali Mountains. Must be nice, boy.
In the Cali Mountains? Oh Lord. I heard some. Wait, the story about the volcano, is that out in California? No, that's Hawaii, right?
Yeah, that's Hawaii.
The story with the volcano, yeah. The funniest thing about that is that they actually said in one of those news reports that they advise tourists to stay away from it. Like, is that not something obvious? Like, hot magma coming toward. Yeah, you might want to stay away from it a little bit.
Nah, it's not obvious because people run to drama. People run to drama. Like, how many times have you been behind somebody in a car and you saw a wreck on the right-hand side of you or something, and the person in front of you was going like 2 miles an hour because they wanted to watch the wreck?
Exactly. Oh my gosh. If we got charged for rubbernecking, a lot of us will have tickets like every single week.
I mean, like, by any means, I understand that the wreck actually happens in front of you and you want to make sure that they're okay and all that. Perfect. I understand that. I'm like that too. But if you know, ambulance is already there, police is already there, it's already blocked off, just go. What are you going to do?
Exactly. Exactly. There's nothing. It's not like you go jump out and help somebody in the middle of you driving. It's
Yeah.
like going. But I guess you're right. People are just gonna be nosy. But it's just the way people are, man.
Yep.
But I wanted to there's only a couple things that's been on my mind today, and usually I'm pretty easy going about stuff. But like I don't know if you caught my audio broadcast yesterday, but you know, I did literally tell this guy that he literally messaged me back in response to offering him this the thing with Dosh app, right? Like they're doing this promotion that you know about right now for the $10 per referral, and I messaged him, and I was telling you about this last night too, that he was so negative as far as you know that he just I'm a black man in America, and money don't come free and easy just like that. And I understand people don't think that everything online is true, but at the same time, like it really kind of hit me in the center of my chest, man, because I was so depressed and disappointed because it's like, why would you immediately go to it can't happen for me, so I'm good. I have a serious problem with that. Like, and just that mindset that people just have a problem with, and it's not just the black thing, it's not just the Hispanic thing or whatever it is, but it's humanity in general. Like, we have this thing about because it's not something that I've ever done before. I don't think that it's possible for me. Like, I know you run into that too. Like, what are your thoughts on
I mean, that's something I deal with every day, but you know, it just comes with a lot of education. I mean, you know, I don't think society, even though it being in 2018, that they're still, I mean, which I understand. Like, look, I believe in hard work. I believe in work. I really do. I don't, and don't get me wrong. I try to be a good, morally good person. You know what I mean? Where I do believe in helping people, but at the end of the day, I don't believe in necessarily handouts. But my point of view on that is totally different. I came from I was a troublemaker. Okay, so I came from knowing what people are out there getting away with compared to like I know people on food stamps driving Lexuses and living the life, where I had to struggle and all that stuff, you know what I mean? Because I didn't go that route at those times, you know what I mean? And and so I think there's a fine line there, which that's a whole nother conversation. But I'm just saying, so I believe in working hard. I believe in working to get what you want. But I also feel as if that what I said a long time ago, the power of technology, yes, you can use it for bad things. You know what I mean? I mean, we can get on YouTube all day and we can learn how to build a bomb out of household items, or we can turn around and get on YouTube and learn how to make money online. Use it to motivate us, use us to maybe change our lifestyle. Use it to just do something different in life. And so, unfortunately, when it comes to those people, it to me it's more attraction rather than promotion. And I love the whole idea of attraction marketing because it really is. It's just it takes time to beat some people up, especially when they're kind of stuck in their ways. You know what I mean? And I try to educate society. If you go back and look at some of my lives, some of them can be considered very educational as far as just trying to help you. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? If you want to keep doing the same thing, getting the same results, that's on you. I can't. I wish I could do more to help, but that's another thing that I had to
that?
learn where to put my time and effort in. And that's where I came up with that whole concept that, hey, I'm only looking for people who are looking for me. Because, unfortunately, I just don't have all the time in the world to sit there and help try to pull somebody else up who's not going to try to lift themselves up.
Exactly. And I know I mentioned this to you last night, and people might think this is harsh, but I unfriended him because, like you said, I also believe that, I believe in hand up and not hand out. Like, I even told the guy, I was like, listen, I sent you away because he literally hit me up for money. Like, he actually said, instead of this, because it's too much work, which it took a friend of ours 5 minutes to sign up for the app and to literally get through. And within an hour, he made like, I guess it's like $20, but that's too much work, right? And I was like, listen, I sent you something that literally made me almost $1,000 just for simply sending messages. You know what I mean? It's like that to me is a whole lot better than me sending you $100. You know what I mean? Because I could send you $100 now, but what's gonna happen when that $100 is gone? You gonna come back for more? Like I'm not. I mean, I hate to sound like this, but I'm not Daddy Warbucks. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to supply or enable anybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to help people. I'm here to help people get into a better state. And it kind of segues into what we really wanted to talk about. But it just this guy, the mind state that some people have that they literally, like I said to you before, you know, people literally want you to put the food in their stomach. It's like, how do you expect to go through life with that mindset? And I think where it stems from is because they hate what it is that they do, but they don't hate it enough so that they go do what they love to do. And that's why I wanted to segue into this thing because, it's really important because if you love what you do and you really have a passion for what it is that you do for a living, you would go after the things you want. You would pursue the things you want. But if you don't like what you're currently doing, you're not gonna work hard. You're not gonna do anything notable to pursue it. I mean, we talk about all the time about how much we love helping people, and that's not a bad aspiration to have. But at the same time, we help people who want to be helped. I mean, can we agree on that? Like, we help people that want to be helped. If you don't want our help, we can't help you with that. Then you might have to seek somebody else because if you don't want what we have to offer, it's not there's nothing you can do about that.
Well,
You know what I mean?
very, very true. And sometimes that's why marketing is the way it is. And I laugh at that when people are like, why can't you just be upfront or why you got to talk like that or why you got to lead people on? And I'm like, well, number one, I'm not leading anybody on. I don't ever lie to them. But like when we say we get paid to post ads, you know what I mean? Like some people don't understand that concept. But here's the thing: it's kind of like you going into a gym. And look, I'm gonna tell you right now, me being a gym manager. 90% of the people that walk into a gym, and we're talking about thousands of people, guys, thousands of people all across the nation walking into gyms every month, okay? When you ask them what their goal is, the 90% of them, the number one thing is they say they want to lose 20 pounds. I don't know what it is. 20 is just this magical number to everybody, and that's what they want to do, right? So they want to lose 20 pounds. But here's the thing. If I would have came out and straight up told you, word for word, all the stuff it's going to take for you to lose 20 pounds, you would walk out that building. You would walk out that building.
Yep.
And that's why marketing is the way it is. And it's not to lead people on, but it's just to paint the picture enough to get your own creative juices flowing and saying, okay, I think I can go for this. I think I can try this. I think I can do this. And when we get that one thought coming in saying, I think I can, then that's the thought we have to run with it. So it is kind of like what you said, but it's almost tricky to get someone to actually really think that way. But once you get them thinking that way, well, then they're able to go ahead and take steps. And when they take steps, they make more commitments. That's kind of why I got out of that whole mentality of, which we won't dive into it too much, but like, the membership thing and why should I have to pay for it and da 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 da. Because to me, I feel like the people that pay or the people that invest or the people that make those decisions, they move forward farther because they made some type of commitment. I don't care what that commitment was, but they move some type of commitment. When you make those small commitments, it sometimes builds momentum and you can make bigger commitments. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, unfortunately, you can't do everything for everybody. And one guy, he told me, and it made a lot of sense, and he said, you can't help everybody. The best thing you can do is be the best version that you possibly can, and then the right people will come. And it's so true. I mean, every now and then, it never fails. I would probably say every week, if not every week or every other week, I always have somebody sign up with me, and I talked to them like 2 months ago or farther. 2 months ago or farther. And this is at least every week, if not every other week. Like just recently, I had a guy flat out tell me, hey, man, we talked in February. I'm ready to do it now.
Oh, my goodness.
But Nick, and I'm not going to call the guy out because I'm happy for him. I'm glad he signed up. But what I'm saying is it never fails. Like, and that's why I'm saying, and that's why when people to me are like, well, Justin, what do I do? That's when I say stay consistent more than ever, just because sometimes you'll get people that say, I'm in, I'm ready to go. And then you got the other ones that are stubborn. You got the other ones that got to be beat up a little bit. I mean, it's so funny to me when people get in my inbox and they pitch me on their business and try to get me out of mine. And I'm like, listen, right now, Nick, I really want to cuss at them because I'm like, listen here. You don't know the work and the passion and the effort and the pain and everything that I've gone through to make this one work. And for you to come in my inbox and try to get me out of it? No, sir. No, sir. I don't play those games.
Exactly.
Because I put effort in
exactly. And there's something that I learned from, most of you who follow me know that I've been in and around Primerica Financial Services, and I learned a great deal from them. And it's, even the story I was just about to share, is about when I was active in the company. Like, they talk about something. They talk about planting your flag, among many other things. Planting your flag and finding something and sticking with it. And the concept is that you make up your mind that this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to focus on. It's being, you don't be the jack of all trades, master of none. You become a master, and then you find other things and you master it. And on the consistency aspect, we talk about this all the time. We probably beat this thing to death about consistency, but it is the great equalizer, because if you stay consistent, you never know who might come back around, when they might come back around. Because when I was active in Primerica still, I had I would say probably at the time one of the greatest professional heartbreaks I had. And I'm not going to put them out there, but it was a church that I was going to in Miami, Florida, well, in Hollywood, Florida. I still love them. They're still like my family. And this is the thing. I set up one of those, like, I guess it's like a seminar. Yeah, seminar is the best word to use. So financial seminar, everything like that. I had my business partners, people who have their own businesses to run on a daily basis, take the time and come down with me, drive probably about 30 minutes out of their way to come there. And at the time, the membership was at least 300. and I was maybe expecting 25, maybe 30 people. Guess how many showed up? Maybe 5.
Yep.
If that.
I believe that.
And I'm talking, yeah, exactly. And, talking about that, like, I'm talking full slides, presentation, everything, like just the whole 9. And 5 people showed up, and 3 of them looked disinterested. I'm like, could you at least act like you know who I am and be supportive, like at least a little bit? But months later, after that whole thing was done, one of the very people that was there that showed no interest came back around and was like, you know what? I've been thinking about it a lot, and I need you. I need to sit down with you because I need to talk some financial things, some financial concepts. And to me, in my head, I was like, "Are you kidding me? It's been months. Like, where were you? You were in the presentation for literally 5 minutes, and then you left." And then it's like, what actually came out with my mouth was like, "Okay, that's fine. We can set the when is a good time for you." But at the time, I wasn't actively being consistent, so I had to literally kind of take a step back and was like, maybe I need to readjust and see if I can find a better time to sit down with person. Consistent, I would have been able to catch her the first time that she actually came around to me and expressed interest in sitting down with me, because it's about being available, not just when the person you want to be available, but if anybody comes to you. And like that the girl that came to visit our training, Leah Ray, she says being consistent shows how serious you are about what you're doing. And it's so true, because if take the example you just gave about people always trying to get you away from your business into others. If you were to literally change your mind and go like, okay, I'm gonna go do forex or go do Mona V or go do whatever it is. I'm not knocking any of those businesses, but if you were to change your mind and go do that, then the guy from 2 months ago that you talked to that didn't sign up yet, he comes back like, hey Justin, you still doing that thing? Um, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm sorry. It's like, what do you people don't realize that the effect and the impact that you have when that moment happens. Whose family gets left out because you decide to change your mind and not be consistent? That's what I think about. Like what? Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it's funny though. What those guys will just say though is they'll say, "Oh no, I quit that company because of blah blah blah. This one's even better." You know what I mean? That's what they say to turn around all that stuff. But what they're not realizing is kind of like what you said. They're not mastering anything, and it, I don't know what it is. Like they're not necessarily perfecting what they're doing, because they want these like instant results. And I think Eric Worre, which I'm not a network marketer, me, but I love Eric Worre, and I love one of his teachings where he said really for him it's not going to meet a person, like let's say you go to Starbucks or you send them a video or you send them your website, whatever the case may be. He said the point is not to make a sell right there. Okay, the point is for every contact to get them to the next contact. You know what I mean? Now, that's hard for a lot of people. And really, it works a little bit better in network marketing, because when you're in a sales aspect, you want to close them now because you want the money now and blah, blah, blah. But it's just kind of like us. What we designed at Most Want We Will is you can kind of do that, but it's hard for some people because they want the immediate sale. But what if you said, hey, thank you for your interest. Why don't you check out my website? And then instead of just following up and immediately saying, by the way, what do you think about the website? What if you turned around and said, hey, guess what? By the way, you got my website there, and I'm glad you can look it over and everything. But I want to go ahead and invite you as my guest to this little meeting where we're going to actually be we're going into detail of that website and talking about exactly what we do. So I tell you what, let me go ahead and put you down. Are you going to be free Monday night at 8 o'clock? You know what I mean? Something along those lines. But that was his thing, was to get in front, because he knew that people weren't going to make a decision on the first time. Some people were, but very, very rarely. I mean, what do they say nowadays? It's like a 1%, 1 to 3% chance that you close them on the first touch.
Yeah, 1% of the time you get people to actually buy into what you're doing the first interaction. Or, they also say most people have to see something 7 times before they actually decide on what they want to do.
So with that being said, and this is where we're going to give some value. So guys, if y'all are watching, take out your pen and paper here, because I'm about to give you an ultimate tip. No matter what company you're in, it does not matter. This is an ultimate tip. But that's why people don't understand understand that the concept of their profile will make the sell. Meaning, let's say I have a pill that loses weight. Instead of just trying to shove that pill down everybody's throat, I start talking about how great this pill is, how it's working for everybody, how I'm losing tons of weight, and I'm showing my progress. And then I also dish it out to you because one day you asked for information. Well, guess what? If you stay following up and you keep that person on your profile, they're going to see the progress and see the results. And it's just like you said, when you put that thought in their mind at that point, like you said a while ago, it's starting to fester up now because they're watching you. And then they always go back to that thought, and that thought just keeps on playing in their head. And they're like, and then finally one day they say, dang it, I need this pill because I got to lose this weight. Ding, 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 ding.
Exactly.
So it's like so your efforts are number one, making the initial contact, giving them the website, or doing whatever the heck you do, going through your sales pitch. But what is the rest? But what are the follow-up steps, and what is your profile doing? What is your lifestyle doing? What is all that doing? That's the missing piece. That's the extra touches that you're still sending to those people, and they finally give in and they say, you're right. You know what? I think it's time that I want to do something different. And the only way you can do that goes back to what you just said, Nick. You have to stay consistent with it. You got to stay in one thing, maybe two, but it's hard to do doing two unless you're doing it on 2 different platforms, and you stay consistent.
And I believe that if you are truly passionate about something, that's why, if you're truly passionate about something, it's hard to do more than one thing. And just like you said, it's really hard to do more than one thing, especially when it's something that you're passionate about. When you're able to talk about something and you could literally feel what you're saying, not you personally, but people can literally feel what you're saying, and when you get done, you actually feel tired, like because the energy left your body because you're so passionate about what you're talking about. Like most of the times, as you guys can see, I'm animated. Like I talk with my hands, talk with my my emotions, all of that. It's because I am passionate about something, and I had to take the time to literally break it down to say, okay, let's peel back the layers and see at the very core, what is it that is my passion? Is it just selling life insurance? Is it just marketing? Is it just roadside assistance? Is it just, or is it something deeper than that? Is it something that goes a little bit further down into the depths of who I am, that I find fulfillment in helping people? I find fulfillment in making an impact. I find fulfillment in helping people get to the next level, whether that be spiritually, financially, emotionally, whatever it is. That's my passion at the end of the day. And finding that one thing that centers and spiders into every other thing that I do, because that passion, it's centered, it's at the very center of everything that I do. And obviously, just like I don't just promote one thing. I don't just tell people about one particular thing. I'm into several. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. but everything that I do is at its center has that passion in it. So I could basically now tell people and now say to myself, well, okay, at the end of the day, did I do what is connected to my passion? And it's hard to do that. It's hard to connect with your passion every single day and to put that out there when you're spreading yourself to one or two different things. So let's say you love helping people, but you love actually doing like there are people out there that love um picking up garbage gosh, why is it escaping me right now? The people that take your trash out. There's people that I've met personally that's what they love to do. They love to keep the place clean, and they love their job. And this is at the end of the day, that's what it's about. You finding something that you love to do. It doesn't matter because I get people all the time that tell me, Nick, not everybody's like you, Nick. Not everybody, can find something that they're passionate about. I don't believe that because, everybody has something that means something to them, that connects with them on a deeper level than the surface. So everybody has that one thing that really excites them. If you start talking about something and your face immediately lights up, that's what you need to be doing. Am I wrong? I mean,
No,
that's
you're exactly right.
what
You're exactly right. I mean, you gotta love what you do. That's for sure. And the thing about it is, if you start to fall in love with what you do, or even just like what you do, I mean, you'll want to just do it better. I mean, it's like Mark Cuban. He bought the Dallas Mavericks. He's constantly trying to look how to make it better. You know what I mean? Zuckerberg. He created Facebook. He's constantly trying to look and see how to do it better. Hell, I think that's why there's an update every 2 days. But or just new things, because when you fall in love with what you do, even when you so-called made it, as a lot of people just want to do, they just want to so-called make it. You'll go past that because you're like, okay, I'm here. That's nothing. I want to make it better. I want to have more fun with this. You know what I mean? So I mean, and that's why in this business we have to touch on those aspects. It's not just, oh, hey, I'm just selling to make an $80 commission. It's like I did a new video, and I'm running an ad on, and the guy, he messaged me yesterday, and he said, dude, I've seen 1,000 of these videos, but yours just hit me the most. And I was like, well, I appreciate that. But his whole thing was, he was like, he wants freedom, because that's even where I'm coming to. I'm not, like, people think like I'm stupid. Like, I'm not stupid. I get it. You know what I mean? Like, some of my clothes haven't changed. Some of the things haven't changed back from a year or two ago when I was broke and things like that. And now that I am getting some money and I got out of debt, now I can do more things. But the thing that still drives me is not going out necessarily and buying and spending all my money just yet, even though I'm probably going to be doing some things here. But it's more or less that I'm still loving the fact that I'm helping people, and then I have this ultimate freedom. Like, even if I had, like, I remember when my ad account got shut down and I had like a bad week. It wasn't horrible, but it was bad to me. But I wasn't defeated by this, because I was like, you know what? But the blessings are still here, that I have this freedom that I can still help people and still make money and not have to do what I used to do. You know, and that's so hard to say, because I love the gym. I love the atmosphere of the gym, but I mean, I just didn't like the hours. I didn't like all the hours that I was having to put in, and I didn't think it was right, because at the end of the day, I mean, for me personally, I couldn't look back on my life and say, oh yeah, I was the top salesman here. Oh yeah, I made this gym a whole bunch of money. Oh yeah, I personally didn't feel comfortable with that. Like, I didn't want that to be on my tombstone. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to have a different legacy. So, now I would love for my legacy to say something along the lines like, hey, great dad, there for his daughter, lived life to the fullest, and and helped as many people along the way. And I mean, and if that can be on my tombstone, I mean, I'll be fine. I could die, very happily. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. And I think that, so
yeah.
it's just like what you said, though. you had to peel back the onion to find that core. And I think at times I do too. I think instantly we have a little fun because we're making some money online, but why are you really wanting to do it? You know what I mean? Is it just to pay that next check? Because if that's the only case, well, you're no matter what business endeavor you get into, it's going to be, a dead end very, very soon. You know what I mean? That's going to fizzle out in no time. But if you say, well, and that's why I ask people, why do you want an online business? If they say, well, I need some extra money, okay, their business is going to be short-lived. But if they're like, hey, I really want to change, I want to be there for my kids more, and then those are passions that need to come out. You know what I mean? And hopefully, I'm not saying we always have the vehicle to get there. A lot of times I believe we do, but some people might not. That's fine. There's many, many big vehicles that get you there. You just got to find the vehicle that works for you. But once you find that vehicle, just stick with it. Enjoy the ride. Stick with it. Because sooner or later, it's just like you put in a destination, right? Here I am in Texas. I want to go to California. I got my map, okay? I got my vehicle, right? Well, now it's just enjoying the ride. I'm going to get there. Just enjoy the ride now.
Mm-hmm. And see, this is another thing that we come across a lot is that, and especially in business, in any business, but more so when you're talking outside of traditional employment, when you're outside of, brick and mortar, you're talking about online, you're talking about, other different opportunities that are not necessarily the traditional, is that you get people that start something. And I guess this is in life too, but you see it a lot more in this arena where people start something and they're coming along, and then something happens, and it's like, I wasn't expecting this to happen. Why did this have to happen? And they start questioning the entire journey versus, it's just a setback. It's just something that happened, but we'll go on and we'll do something else. And just think about a regular 9 to 5. I used to work at Comcast. If I quit my job every time somebody told me that they don't want to buy the product, how often would I be working there? How long would I have a job if I threatened to quit every time somebody said, no, I don't want the triple play, after I offered it for the 19th time for the day and nobody upgraded? What would I be able to say then? That I just want to quit just because people just don't want to do? People have to understand a lot of times, and it's not just them. It's not whoever, but it's a worldwide thing where people really have to understand the concept of it's not going to happen perfectly. And I talk about this all the time. How do children learn to walk? If you have young kids, think about when they were first learning to walk, and they fell all the time, and it ranged from, oh, that's so cute that you don't want them to hurt themselves, but it's kind of cute the way they kind of fell a little bit. They made a funny face or whatever it is. So, oh, I'm sorry, I kind of blipped out there for a second. Um, where you go from a little cute fall to something where they smack their face on something. Like my daughter, she fell one time and she hit her head on the coffee table. Like, do you think that didn't scare the life out of me? And more so important for her, like, obviously she's okay now, but what I'm saying, like, it scared the living daylights out of her. But did that stop her? No. Even from the time that she saw her best friend learn to walk, and she couldn't accept that. She couldn't live with herself knowing that her best friend was doing something and she wasn't able to do it, because she was saying that it's so easy for her best friend to do it, but she's not doing it. So the minute we put her on the ground, she was trying every single moment of every single day until a month later where she learned to walk. And even when she did, she still falls today. So I don't understand. It's the same thing. Along the journey, you're going to experience things that it's going to take the wind out of your sails. You're going to experience days that you don't sell anything or you don't have anybody, respond back to you, but you don't let that stop you. You don't let that, just make you question the entire journey. Because again, if you love what you're doing, you know that it's gonna come. Hard work will pay off. It always compounds. That it may not happen for you today, but along the line, down the road, that you will reap the rewards of your work.
I mean, and you're right, but I think I think there's also a lot of factors on that. You know what I mean? A lot of times, it really depends on what your initial reason was that you got into the business. That's number one. Number two, the faith and fear. Usually, if you go in fearful, thinking that it's a scam or thinking that it's not going to work out, well, then your mind is going to be trained to look for those problems. And as soon as the situation arises, where it's like a little bump, you're like, oh, yep, see, I knew it wasn't going to work. I knew it. This is BS. You know what I mean? You can go instantly. You just go to you go that route because you're trying to look for that answer, or you're trying to look for something to comply with that. Right now, if you could just go in by faith, you usually attack it, and you're not really worried about what comes. Now, I do see a lot of MCA associates, or anybody in business for that matter, they do question themselves a lot. And now that is hard. Like we get to a point where we're saying, well, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And you got to get out of that mode too. Like, it's kind of like, and does go back to what the baby reference, the cool thing about a baby or a child is they have that no fear, you know what I mean? And they're not questioning what they're doing wrong. They're just getting back up. Like they're not, you know what I'm saying? And that's hard as adults because we were made in school like, okay, I got a bad grade. Well, what did I do wrong? I did something wrong. You know what I mean? When it's just like, hey, you probably overlooked this or you overlooked that. You know what I mean? So learn and do better. But we go into business just thinking, well, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? I'm being like this person. Well, sometimes that could be just wrong. You know what I mean? You can't always just be like that person. I mean, I think me and you touch about it all the time on our YouTube channels and everything. We teach concepts that work. Like some people think, well, Justin has the secret sauce, and it's like, no, I'm teaching you the concept because sometimes you can't be like me. As you know, there was a girl that I followed a lot, and you saw every now and then that my posts were like that girl's. Well, guess what? It didn't work for me like it worked for her. She killed it. Mm-hmm. And then I would use the same post and it wouldn't. Now it was me just testing it to see what if my audience was going to react the same. But guess what? They didn't. They didn't. So I had to do what was working for mm-hmm. me. And so that's when I learned that I have to get to this point where I have to teach concepts that work because, you know what I mean? To teach you exactly how to be like me, that does not work for people. It just doesn't work for people. So anyways, you've got to get out of that mindset too of just saying, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Just say, hey, you know what? Go through a whole week, look back at your results and say, okay, wait a minute. I didn't make a sale this week. That's a flag, right? No, it's not a bad flag. It's just like, okay, something needs to change. Now, if your goal was 10 sales and you only got 5, don't beat yourself up. Build on that. Say, hey, okay, I got 5. Maybe I'm doing the right thing. I just got to do more of it. And next week I'll get 10. But some people don't do that. They're just like, man, I haven't hit $2,000 yet. What's the deal? Because so-and-so hit $2,000. Yeah, but so-and-so, who you have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, you had no idea what they had to do to get that.
Yeah, you had no idea what they had to do to get that. I mean, like, I remember there was a guy in our business making $12,000 a week, okay? Well, one day, and you're constantly asking yourself, how did he hit $12,000 in a week? Or I was like, God. So I'm sitting there asking, and one day I remember being on one of his webinars, and he just, for a blink of an eye, showed his back office for Facebook ads. He was spending $150 a day.
Wow.
Yeah, like, but see, we don't see that. We don't see that. We think, oh, he's running an ad. I should be able to spend $20 an ad and make 12 grand a week. No, he was spending 150 a day. But
Yep.
but it was working out for him. I mean, because what is that? That's like what, $1,000 a week. But I'll spend $1,000 a week if I can get 12
Yeah.
grand.
Yeah.
But
that's still 11 grand profit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So he was in mad profit. But see, we didn't know that, or I didn't know that. I'm sitting here thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? And then when I saw that glimpse, that's when I had to learn myself. I was like, wow, we don't know the kind of work that these people are putting in. Sometimes, my brother, he taught us this lesson about the duck, and my friend, he said he was going to get a tattoo of it. But let me tell you about the duck. Sometimes you got to be like a duck, okay? And what that means is, have you ever seen a duck on top of water, right? The duck on top of water is just swerving. It's just cool. It's calm. It's collect. It's just moving with the flow of the water, all cool. Well, underneath, his legs are paddling to save his life, because if it stops, he's going to sink and he's going to die, right? And so what I'm getting at is there's a lot of people out there that are all cool and calm and collect. And on the inside, you have no idea what their back office, what's going on in their head, the amount of work, maybe the restless nights they put in to achieve those results. You know what I mean? And so all I'm saying is you got to put in that extra work, man. It always boils down to that. You know what I mean? And just get out of that idea of just comparing yourself to other people and learn, apply, and grow. That's it. Learn, apply, and grow.
Yeah. You have to put your blinders on because when you really think about it, if you judge yourself by other people's performance, you would give up every time, because obviously there are other people that will outwork you. Will you let that motivate you or depress you? That's another story. But you will always find somebody. Letitia said, "Call me a duck." But you will find people that perform at a higher level. They do things at a higher level than you do. And it's not an indictment against you. It's just that you are not there yet. But you got to focus on what's in front of you. You got to focus on what you're working on and you getting better, and you growing, and you improving, and you'll be able to build from there. And it's not because you're not at $2,000 a week, or you're not the manager right now, or you're not, getting that promotion that you've been working hard for yet, but somebody else did. It doesn't mean that you're not doing all you can, but just means that you are just not there yet. And you have to understand that where you are, it does not mean that's not where God needs you to be at that point. Because obviously, you go through hardships for a reason. I don't believe in consequence. I don't believe in luck. I don't believe in random happenstance. I believe in provision, divine provision, because and God's sovereignty, because God doesn't. It's not that He doesn't know what's happening to you, what's not happening in your life, what's not going right. He knows all of that, but it's to help you become the person that you need to be to get to the next level. Because think about it this way, and I'm gonna use you, Justin, because say we're close like that. We know enough about each other to do this. But what would happen if if God had allowed it for you to start getting 5 grand a month back when you were 23? Think about when you were 23 and 24. What if God had opened a way in what's in your circumstances at the time if He allowed you to just get 5 grand a month? Were you the right person?
Nope.
Exactly. What would that do to your life at 23, 24?
Well, if it was back then, I would have been I would have been even in more trouble, hurting more people. You know what I mean? At that stage of my life.
Exactly.
But you got to learn to have some acceptance with that. And that's a hard deal, because then you want to know, well, what am I missing? But respect. Just be grateful and respect for for the path that you are taking, because sometimes those are the things that make us the best versions of us. And I think that's exactly what you're saying, because um, I, I did have to learn through this whole process that it was more of a mindset thing. I mean, I never, for me, and this is just me personally, some people struggle with learning a computer. Some people struggle with learning how to talk to people. And I'm not saying I don't struggle with some of those things too, but I've been able to learn those very, very quickly. The one thing that I failed at was me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to finally just trust in that process. And when I started just trusting in that process, things just started happening.
Mm-hmm. And that's definitely getting to what I was saying, because it is a mindset thing, and it is about the person that you are and being the best version of yourself. But I think also with that, it is the fact that you know you have to get to that place where it's about being the right person to fit the opportunity that you've been given and the blessing that you've been given. If you're not prepared for it, if you're not prepared to handle the increase, it's going to destroy you. Because we see it all the time with people who get fame and fortune too soon. They get all this thing. How do you go from obscurity, about living in poverty, you go from not having anything whatsoever to the heights of fame, the heights of fortune. You have even though you have all the money in the world, it seems like people show up at your door giving you a whole bunch of free stuff, which is another thing I couldn't understand, is that, what I'm saying, they just get a whole bunch of free stuff and they have the money to pay for it, but that's a whole nother topic. But you get to the point where people are just giving you this thing, giving you these physical things. They're giving you all this adoration. Everybody knows your name. You can go out there and do all the things you want, but why are you so depressed? Why do these people end up committing suicide? Why? Because they weren't properly prepared. You could attribute it to a whole bunch of different things, but one of the underlying factors is that they were not prepared for getting so high so fast. They weren't prepared as a person to be that to be that high up, and it's almost like it's a curse. I've heard so many people say, if I had known what winning the lottery would have done, I would have gave it back, because it was a curse. Because I won the lottery, and then people came out of the woodworks, and you really see who the kind of people are, and I couldn't handle it. I was helping this one, helping that one, paying for this one, paying for that one, and it was the root of my downfall. It was because you don't know how to handle it in that mindset. So that's why I personally believe that's why God puts you through things, because He puts you through things to prepare you for the next level, to prepare you to be the person He needs you to be, to handle what He's about to bless you.
Yeah, and I agree with you, because some of these people, they look at somebody like Rodney Walker. I mean, and I want you to take into account Rodney Walker really quick. Paint the picture in your mind. You know what I mean? That if you go to his page, his fan page, he has 100,000 likes on there. Okay, any given moment when he goes live, he instantly, within a matter of maybe 10 minutes, has 100 people on that live. Okay. And then he has probably a good, 25% of them sharing that live. Okay. And if you were to go back to that live, and sometimes it even happens while he's on the live, but if you were to go back to that live, you're going to find some negativity on there. The thing about
Mm-hmm.
it is some people say, I want to be like Rodney Walker. But
Mm-hmm.
if that one person of negativity comes on that live, that person is like scarred for the rest of the day. Where, oh yeah, where Rodney Walker can literally take it and it doesn't affect anything in his day. Now, that's something that he's probably has learned and has gotten really good at. And what I'm saying is that, those are the trials and tribulations that you're going to get. And it might not be in a form of negativity, but it's going to be in the form of something that if something hits you, but yet you're able to still perform and have a great day and don't let it just totally drown you out. And I'm not saying problems aren't going to wear you down or life isn't going to wear you down. You're going to have your good and your bad days. But if you think what makes a player great or those people great, like, like right now the playoffs are in, so I can just use this as an example. But LeBron, right? He has everybody on the news, you know what I mean, on ESPN talking about his team isn't doing nothing, his team is holding them down, blah, 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 blah. Now, he could sit there and take that and yell at his team and get onto them and try to get up to them and everything. But he knows in his mind, well, that's not going to do me any good. That's not going to win me the championship. So instead, whenever they go to him and they ask him about his team, he says good things about him. You know what I mean? Then he goes into the game ready to play at the maximum level that he can possibly play. So he's learned to block out that stuff and just attack at the thing that he needed to attack at the moment. And a lot of people have a difficulty in that. You know what I mean? It's either they don't want to get started because a family member told them not to do it or some friend told them not to do it. Then once they get past that, then they have one person be negative to them, and they're just like, and then they want to give up. It's like, and yet you say that you want to be like Rodney Walker. That doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? Like, so you are right. So these are all things that you're just having to learn. I think me and Letitia, we said it recently, like when we started or when we really, really dove into Most Won't We Will, and we got this training and everything. And I pushed Letitia in the spotlight there. And she said, Justin, she was like, everybody was coming to me for questions, which is fine. She didn't mind that. That wasn't the problem. The thing about it is she realized, well, if I'm not careful, I could get stuck on these questions and not be able to handle what I need to handle. You know what I mean? Or not even be able to handle my own peace of mind because I'm constantly helping 1,000 people, because it takes a lot of energy to help 1,000 people. You know what I mean? It does.
It does.
And so it was kind of cool seeing her learn that stuff. And then me and her were bouncing that stuff off of each other, and I was learning that stuff, and we had to learn how to develop, not to necessarily say no, but say, hey, listen, hold on. Like I'll help you, or you're going to have to do this, and you're going to have to do this. And and by the way, I'm going to have to cut all y'all off for right now because I got to go handle my business. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And those are just all growing things, man. They really are. They're all growing things.
Yeah, because you have to devote time. You have to be able to compartmentalize, because if you don't, and I get, you have to help the team. You have to help the ones that you're working along with you and stuff like that. At the same time, and she just put it in the comments, you have to delegate. Delegation is key because it really is important to your success. And not just you personally, but the success of your business, the success of your organization, that you have to know what you can take on at what time and what things you have to delegate, what things you have to say, okay, I'm going to need you to be responsible for this. I'm going to need you to be able to do this. I need this other person to do this, so we can ultimately move the entire business forward. And I really like the fact that I really like the setup of how things work on our team, because of the fact that you're not doing everything all the time. And I was thinking about this, but I never told you guys. But it was really kind of cool for me, and I don't know, I'm just a big nerd like that sometimes. The fact that this week you guys kind of switch places, because you usually lead off on our mastermind, and Letitia usually does our Tuesdays. But this week it was literally flip flop. And I know you had other things to do and stuff like that was important that you had to take care of, but that's exactly what we're just talking about. On a strong team, everybody pulls together. And you needed Letitia to step up, And she did, a phenomenal job last night. Did a phenomenal job with the mastermind last night, and it's just a testament to how much we understand that as a team. Because how many times have you called on people? And I would speak for me, like times you called on me where it's like I have no idea that you're about to call on me, but because I understand that on a strong team everybody pulls together, that I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? Because you can't, like I said before, you can't do everything at all times for your business. So you have to be able to delegate and to set that aside and say, okay, I'm going to trust you to do this in the business. I'm going to trust you that you're knowledgeable enough, you're capable enough to, to to handle this, and on your part to be able to trust somebody with your business. I think that's something that few people talk about, is the trust factor that takes. Because if you think that you can't trust the person you're about to delegate to, will you delegate to them? You know what I mean?
Well,
And it's yeah.
well,
Go
no,
ahead.
no, you're right. It's trust. It's in its communication, where I would say that's another growing pain and I say pain because I have to learn to communicate a little bit better. And when I say communication, it's not like tonality and all that. It's more like just communicate just in general. You know what I mean? And that's something that here recently, me and Letitia have been working on, because she's like, sometimes you do stuff, Justin, you don't communicate it with me. Come on. So these are my growing pains. So you're right. And then delegate, which, I do believe that the trust is there. And you're right, there has to be trust in people. And you gotta let that stuff go. You gotta have some faith in it. I mean, but also I think that's also coming from the very beginning, when you're choosing who you really want to be around. I mean, like you and Letitia and a lot of the other people in our group, I choose to be around those people because I do trust them and I believe in them and I know they're going somewhere. But you have to pick and choose those people, because unfortunately there's some people that I get around that I don't necessarily always like to be around, whether they're making me money or they're not making me money. Like I don't care. Like I don't, you know what I'm saying? And it's not to be rude. It's just more or less that I'd rather be around people of growth and people that are going somewhere, because that's where I want to go. So it doesn't, it's not me trying to be rude, but like when I see some people sitting there telling me they want to grow, and then every post on their page is just all negativity, those are my signs that I'm just like, hey, listen, I have nothing against you and I love you, but I can't be around that, because I know me, and that'll just take me down. And I don't want to take, and and that's another growing thing. You gotta pick and choose who you want to be around. But when I do pick and choose the right people around, then the instant trust is there, because if we have the same visions and the same goals, then I know we can get around everything else. You know what I mean? And so that's where the trust does come from.
Yeah, you really hit the nail on the head with that one. But before we go, I just wanted to kind of touch on something. What would you, and what could we can kind of close off on this, but to those people that they hate what they're doing, they don't feel any kind of fulfillment, they don't feel any kind of happiness or whatever it is you want to call it with what they're currently doing, but they don't really know if it's possible in everything that we see online and everything that we come across that is on the internet that you could do. What would you say to those people that really want to find something to do, but they don't really know if how to tell what's real and what's fake? What would you say to those?
Well, I mean, follow people. This is why we preach it to the team to go live. To put yourself out there, because that's the only way to sometimes get around all that stuff. Um, and it's kind of hard, Nick, to answer that question without being biased and saying get into our business, because I did do my and I mean, but because I've done my research on our business, And for a person who is starting out in this industry, it's a good route to go. Okay, not to mention we give. So, but I guess I'll answer your question like this. Stop looking for the next gimmick and look for the next mentor. Because the next gimmick will always be out there. The mentor to help you come few and far between. So
that's
powerful. And that's because that's the thing. I mean, think about it. There was, how I can name 5 different systems out there that are all similar. I can name 5 different businesses out there that are all similar. Network marketing. All their companies are all similar, whether it's a binary option or a different type of option. But at the end of the day, who's the person that's going to help you get from where you are to where you want to go? And when you choose that person, understand that it's not their job to get you there. It's that person that is going to help show you the way.
Wow. That's amazing, because I was just thinking exactly that. It's so important to, and that, again, that concept is so powerful, because everybody wants to talk about the next big thing. Everybody wants to get in on a ground floor opportunity and ride the next wave and everything like that. But what happens when the wave dies down? When the wave dies down, for them, they move on to something else. And we call those opportunity hoppers. You don't want to be an opportunity hopper. When I get so many people that tell me, you should join this thing, it's the next big thing, it's going to take off. Me personally, I don't need to take off to the next big thing. I need something that's already off and running. And it's hard to not be, like you said, it's hard not to be biased to what we do, because they have been around since 1926. You know what I mean? So it's not something that just started. You know what I mean? But because people haven't really heard of the company, they kind of question it, like, is it really what they say it is? But at the same time, we have to understand, if you find somebody that is where you are, and it doesn't have to be somebody who's making 30, 50 grand a month or anything like that. If that's what you choose to follow, then that's fine. I'm not saying anything about the money aspect, but if somebody is, and they have the freedom that you want, or they have they've achieved some of the goals that you want to achieve, you want to look and listen and take notes, and to apply the concept, and then follow the path that they light for you. Because, again, like you said, it's not their job to do it for you. It's not their job to get you there. It's just their job to show the path and to help you avoid the mistakes that they made. So when they show you the path that they took to avoid the mistakes they made, you can get to where you need to be twice as fast.
Yeah.
So if you find somebody like that, you run with it.
Yeah.
Because we get so focused on, I need to make $2,000 a month. I need to start making that tomorrow. When in reality, there's so much more to doing that than you know, and it's not going to happen tomorrow, but it will happen. So that's one of the biggest things I wanted us to address. I know I'll give you a chance to respond to that really quick, but it's just something that, people really need to focus on, finding a way to get better and to improve versus the next big thing.
Well, actually, I don't know if I have enough time to fully respond, because I got to go pick up my daughter. But that's one thing that I've learned more than anything, is find the mentor, and not saying those guys that are going to be on call 24/7. Like, I think people pick a mentor wrong. I'm talking about at least the guy or the girl, doesn't matter,
that you know is going to at least show you the ropes and push you in the right direction. And you just said it best, and not make the same mistakes as they did. That's what you got. I mean, because anybody can plug you into a system. Anybody can sign you up into a network marketing company. Anybody can sell you on the next gimmick. That can be done by anybody with some common sense and a computer, right? But who's going to show you how to actually use that opportunity to get where you want? I mean, and I'll leave you with this. Why do people go to Shark Tank? I mean, if they're really looking for an investor, they can go find an investor. If you got a hot product and you're already making sales, you can go find an investor out there. There's angel investors. There's a whole bunch of investors out there. Okay. They go to Shark Tank because they want to work. And 9 times out of 10, usually the person that goes on there already has it in their mind on who they want to work with. Now, now sometimes it might be 2 out of the 5 Shark Tanks. It might be 1. But nobody goes in there just saying, I hope one of these guys just works with me. No, they go in there and 9 times out of 10, they already know who they want to work with. They just hope that their pitch is that good enough that it'll sell to that person. So they're looking for the mentor more than anything. So, but kind of got to go though, man.
Yeah, real quick, just tell them where to find you, and we'll end it to there.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. We're running overboard, but you can find me right here on this profile page, Justin Springer, or you can go to my YouTube channel at Justin Springer.
And you can find me on my blog page by Millionaire Insight, and you can find my regular Facebook page, and you can leave either one of us a message if you want to find out what we do. And we do this every single week of the Legendary Insight broadcast. So tune in next week. We have some powerful stuff coming for you guys. So thank you guys all for watching and giving us a part of your Thursday. I hope you guys have a wonderful one, all right? We got to be out of here. Until next time, live life, love God. See you when we see you. Peace.
Peace.